Now, as we look into the crystal ball of what 2025 has in store for the real estate market here in Southwest Florida, there's an interesting picture that is starting to unveil itself, and we're just in the early part of this year. We're going to talk about what the year ahead is going to look like. We'll make some bold predictions, if you will, and talk about some of the parts of the market that should succeed at the higher levels and some of the areas of the market that may not. So let's jump right into it. So my name is Brad Dohak. I'm the broker and owner of Gulf Point Properties. I have been in real estate here in Southwest Florida since 2006, going on 19 years at this point. And so we've seen a lot of different things in the market, and I'm going to talk about what trends, where we've come from and where we're going to go. So what I'd like to talk about, when COVID happened, everything changed in terms of real estate. It used to be very predictable how the real estate market would work in Southwest Florida. We would have our high season where more snowbirds are here. That's when the demand would typically be the highest. We'd have our off season, which is typically summer, late summer months. And so it would be a little bit slower at that time. But beginning of the year, inventory would always rise. We would sell a lot of that off, and then it would stay pretty steady throughout the rest of the year. Then COVID came and everything shifted in a dramatic fashion. And so at that stage, we decided that we were going to start taking track every single week of data that we could not historically look at when it comes to the velocity of sales that were happening in the week prior. Sure, we could look back in time and see some of the closed sales. We could see historic pricing, active market, how much was on inventory, but we couldn't see the velocity of sales in any given week. And so we literally track at 8:30 a.m. every single Tuesday morning prior to our team's sales meeting this specific data that can help us advise you what's going on in the overall market and be able to make decisions based on today. And I'll give you a quick little glimpse into what we saw after COVID. So in January of 2021, we only had about 7,000 properties available on the market for sale in all of Southwest Florida. And 2021 had a velocity where we were selling up to 1,800 residential properties in a given week, which is a substantial amount of properties that we're turning over. Now, we sold off a lot of inventory, and we had about 2,900 as a low point in 2021. Fast forward to January of 2022, and we started that year with only 2,900 available properties on the market, and we knew going into high season that we only had 2,900 properties available on the market, that we were going to sell off what little we had, and that was going to cause a massive increase in pricing, and that is exactly what we saw that year. Well, 2022 came, and interestingly, we didn't sell off as much inventory because we just didn't have much to sell off. And come February, we saw our low of about 2,500 properties in all of Southwest Florida available, and that's the lowest that we've ever seen around. Then, interestingly, we started adding some inventory, even in the late part of our high season, and 2022 is when interest rates started to increase. So that really was the height of the market in Southwest Florida, was in early 2022. So inventory started to grow, and we ended about 7,000 properties again. So fast forward to 2023, and we did have about 7,000 properties on the market at the beginning of the year as far as inventory goes. Now, remember, we started at 2,900 in 2022. We were up to 7,000 in 2023. Fast forward to 2024, and we started with 14,000 properties in 2024. And now we're actually at 20,000 properties in the beginning of 2025 available. Now, coming from 2,900 all the way up to 20,000 available properties certainly seems like that is a recipe for, pricing destruction. But remember, COVID changed everything in real estate and really upset how the inventory and everything worked. So if we look at the inventory levels that we have today going into our high season here in Southwest Florida and compare that to pre-COVID numbers, those numbers are actually right in line with previous years, 2015, 16, 17, 18. did the same, relatively the same amount of inventory. Now, the pace of sales is what we're looking forward to see, because the velocity since 2021 has decreased quite significantly. There's been a lot less home selling in 2022 compared to 2021, less than 2023 compared to 2022, and less than 2024 than 2023. So you can see the trend of the amount of sales has been going down. And so if that velocity does not pick up, that could mean that will have substantial downward pressure on pricing. And we're starting to see, we've seen this for a little while, where we're usually seeing about 7 to 8% of the overall market is taking a price reduction on a weekly basis. But interestingly, prices have not fallen off in a drastic way, and there's been a lot of headwinds. So we've had a lot of pressure from insurance rates. We've had some pressure around the hurricanes and people saying that they don't want to be around hurricanes, and we've had pressure around interest rates being around 7%. Those are all negative things when it comes to pricing, meaning that prices could potentially lower. But even though prices have come down, they've been quite resilient, and that all comes down to people wanting to move to Florida and being willing to make a move. Now, what areas of the market do we see that are going to succeed at the highest level in 2025? Well, again, I don't have that exact crystal ball, but I will make some predictions here, and I believe that we're going to continue to see new construction lead the way when it comes to sales. Now, I will say they are not selling quite like they were a few years ago. And so we see a lot of builder incentives that have been coming out. But the reason why new construction has succeeded at such a high level is because it's very beneficial from an insurance perspective. So you could be saving, could be $4,000 or $5,000 per year buying a new construction home compared to a similarly priced resale home closer to the beach. And so new construction, people love new construction. You get the newest, latest, greatest, full warranties. Nobody's ever lived in the property before, and those tend to be a great possibility. The challenge with new construction historically has been that they're not making any more land in what are considered the prime locations closer to the beach in Southwest Florida. And so the majority of the new construction developments are a little east. So they're east of I-75 typically. That's been a challenge in the past because people want to be closer to the beach. They want to be closer to downtown Naples, for example. And so now that is shifting a bit, because a lot of the people on the coast are saying, I don't want to be on the coast because of my fear or the realities of the potential of hurricanes. And so people from the coast are saying, I'm going to move away from the coast. And now these new construction properties are a lot more attractive. Also, many of them, because they're east of the highway, they don't have the same flood insurance requirements that you'd be if you were in a mandatory flood zone to have flood insurance. And so these things are all big factors. Who's going to get hit the hardest this year? Who's not going to love 2025? I'm looking at condos. I'm looking at beachfront condos, because we are seeing a real challenge there with all of the new rules and laws around condos, the reporting, the reserves, everything that's required, any kind of repairs that are needed to the building. We're seeing massive assessments, etc. That's going to continue to be a really soft part of the market, because people don't want to get into those assessments. Now, the good news here is in 2025, we should be aware, and most of those assessments should have already happened. And so we could see a scenario where, because there's so much inventory on the market from a condo perspective, that we're starting to see some really good opportunities, because the majority of these fees are already paid, or at least they're known as far as what they would be. And so really that would become the seller's responsibility in any negotiations. To me, that's a really good outline for what I expect to see in the overall market here in Southwest Florida. Now, there are a lot of different pockets around, and we didn't get to talk about all of them. And so depending on what you're looking for, we may have some additional information that could help you if you're looking to make a decision to buy or to sell in 2025. And me and my team would be honored to be able to help you with that. So thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor, like the video. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. It means the world to me, and you make sure to have a blessed day. Thank you.